Hello and welcome to another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
I'm Chris Costa.
Chris, what should we take a look at today?
Well, there's a relatively new system setting where you can auto-load labor material entries when the job's complete. If we can look at how to set that up and how it works.
Sure, that'd be great. Let me just explain the setting. Basically, like you said, it is a system setting, but you can then control what cost centers it gets applied to. That's a checkbox on the cost center. So, you know, some people, you may want to auto-load your digital area because, you know, those jobs are fast, quick jobs. The quantities don't vary very much. It's not a lot of spoilage. So maybe you just want to let that auto load.
Right.
But maybe your sheet fed, you don't. And you can do a cost center by cost center.
Sure. Okay.
Okay?
Yep. So if we can look at how to get it set up maybe?
Sure.
Where the system setting is? Sure.
All right. So we'll start in system settings. So I'm going to go into file maintenance. And we'll go up to the file menu and go to system settings. And go down to job costing under the options. And you'll see the third one down here is auto load labor material entries on complete. This is the first thing you have to do. You have to turn this on to yes. If this is set at no, then no matter what else you do, it's not going to do anything. So we'll set that first. So let me hit OK here. Now the other thing you want to do is under each cost center, you'll want to go in and for any one that you do want to auto load, there's a checkbox here, and it's in every cost center, whether it's pre-press, post-press, press, bindery. It's in every single one, and you just simply check that, and that's what lets Enterprise know that you want to auto load that cost center.
Okay.
And not only will it auto load the labor for that cost center, but any materials attached to processes to that cost center will auto load should you set your default settings for that as well.
Okay.
So then that's the second step then is to go into each cost center that you want to auto load and check that off. The last piece of the setup is in job costing. And that's here under the file auto load from job. Now there's another video we did a while back that explained this auto load for job, which is a more manual process where you have to pick the job you want to auto load. But it's in here where you put in the default settings of how you want Enterprise to auto load that job. So we're just coming in here now to set the defaults, and then this new auto load feature is going to look at those defaults.
Gotcha. Okay.
So here you'll tell it, give it the employee code. You have to have an employee code to record the entries against. And that employee code, I just labeled it auto. You can give it a number, you can give it whatever code you want, but it has to be an elapsed time employee. You can select one of your completion codes here, cost center complete, because we have to set a completion code on those labor entries. Then if you do want to do both labor entries or material entries, you check both of these off, or if you just want to do one or the other, you check whatever you want to check off. And then you would hit the set defaults button here. So I'm going to do both the labor and material, and they're going to go under auto, and they're going to have a cost center complete code. You hit save defaults, and then you can just cancel out of here. And that completes the setup, and now you're ready to go.
All right, that seems simple enough. Can we go complete a job or two and take a look at the entries?
Sure. Let's take a look at a couple of jobs I have, and then we'll complete it.
All right.
So I'm going to go into estimating order entry. And I've got two jobs here, an auto load digital and an auto load sheet fed. Let me open those up. And we'll edit the component. And I just want to go over to the processes. Both of these jobs are basically the same. They have a pre-press typesetting process. They have a color proof process. Both of these I have set up to auto load. For digital, I set my Docutech press to auto load. For post press, I set the folding to not auto load, but I set the shrink wrapping to auto load, just for the purposes of this demonstration. So I'm just going to cancel out of here. The other job we have is the sheet fed job, which is basically the same thing as the digital job, only it's with a sheet fed press. So under my processes here, again, I have the same two post press. Those will auto load. I've set my quick master to not auto load. I've also set my plate making to not auto load. So all of that would be done manually.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And then the same two post-press processes here. Folding won't auto-load, but shrink wrapping will. Now what's going to happen is that this is going to happen upon the completion of a job. So normally what would need to be manually data collected, like my sheet-fed processes, that would happen in data collections. And then when the job's all done, somebody's going to go into shipping. They're going to select the job, So we'll select the digital one first. And you can put your shipping information in here. I'm just going to hit the complete button. And what you're going to see here is once I hit the complete button, it's going to tell me the entries that it made. So it did 4 production entries and 2 material entries. And then it will complete the job. I'm going to complete the other one as well, and then we'll go into job costing and take a look at the entries. So here's my other job. I'll hit the complete button. This one did 3 production entries and 1 material entry. And now let's go take a look at job costing. So when we go into job costing, if you remember from our video last week, I can take a look at this information by job. So I can go by job number, and in my status field here, I can say, let's look at completed jobs. So if I look at my first one, 12997, and I hit the filter button for labor, it's going to show me the labor entries here. So it did my typesetting, it did my color proofing, and it did my shrink wrapping, did not do my press. If I go look at the materials and hit filter, the only process that I had materials associated with it was the shrink wrapping. So it did the shrink wrapping material along with the shrink wrapping process. It didn't do my paper because that's associated with the press. If I go look at the digital process, and I'm on materials now, we can see it did the paper and it did the shrink wrapping. And if I switch this to labor and filter that, you see we've got my pre-press processes, my press process, and my shrink wrapping. In either case, no folding, because I told that to not auto-load. Those would come in through the manual data collection entries when those were done.
True, right, okay.
Okay?
All right, perfect, that's good.
Any questions?
No, I think that was excellent.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us for another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
I'm Chris Costa.
Please look forward for more to come.